Oh my God. Stupid bitch. Why would you ask anybody that?
Yeah.
Let alone my sweet baby angel right here. Who would literally give you the clothes off her back, you stupid. I hope you got lost in the woods somewhere and had to swim down a shitty shit creek, and I hope you survived and you got fucking humbled, bitch. Oh my God. Whew. Hello, and welcome to the All Nighter Podcast.
This is where the insomniacs come to get silly. With your hosts, Ashlyn Benson, Alexis Leach, and Rhonda Lou.
Hell yeah, brother.
We made it.
What's up,
Hi.
everybody?
Welcome to the All Nighter Podcast. Hope
Thank
you're
you for
living. Hope you're
joining
getting
us.
some sleep somewhere.
Maybe.
I know we're not.
I still really haven't been, dude. Like this whole,
Do you ever?
I know. It's been ridiculous. Like actually today was probably the most sleep I've gotten in a while.
How much did you get?
I mean, I kind of slept intermittently from like 7 to like 11.
Okay.
So,
okay.
you know,
So,
like
okay.
it's some catch
It's a
up.
longer stretch.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's some catch up for the
7 to
whole week.
11.
7 to 11, baby.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, my dreams have been crazy too. I almost think because of how tired I am, like they've just been going off.
You're like in between realities.
Yeah, I'm like, why in the fuck, dude? Y'all ever have the kind of nightmares where it's just like everybody you love like absolutely hates you?
What? The nightmares?
Yeah.
She's like, what? I would never.
I don't know. I guess not really.
Dude, those are like the worst nightmares to me. Because like even if like crazy shit's happening in my dream, they don't fuck me up like those do. Like those, I'll wake up and be like, oh my God, please. Please never let them hate me.
Never.
It is ridiculous. But it seems like those are my most
Is that your worst
common
fear?
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
But also, how is that your worst fear when everybody loves you?
Literally.
Strangers love you on the street. They're just like, I read your aura.
I caught the vibe.
It was so vibey.
But I mean, I don't know what it is, I guess. I think like whenever I'm stressed out or something, that nightmare tends to come up for me.
Really?
Where it's just like I think it's because that's what I care the most about, you know, like in my life or whatever, that my subconscious is just like, but what if?
Wow. My nightmares are usually like driving off a cliff or dying or someone's coming after me and I'm just like trying to get away.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely have some in that direction too, but like I said, those don't fuck me up in the same way.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like I don't know, it's like I get almost a lot of the time in the dream, it's like I did something that I don't remember or something, and that's why everybody hates me all of a sudden. I'm like, but what did I do?
It's like I was just watching the second Lilo and Stitch, and it's like when he keeps turning evil by accident or whatever, and she's like, Stitch, you're ruining everything. He's like, but I'm so good. Just kidding, that's not even how it sounds.
She can do the voice really fucking well though.
That's still not it.
Like, nope.
I can only do it at certain times. But he is very close to the hormone monster.
Bruh, okay, but so one of my neighbors, Yari, I don't know if I've ever talked about her to you, but so she works close by, and she's actually gonna move and whatever, but she came up to us last night when we got home, and she was like, you know, she was being sweet as ever, but then she was like, girl, we need to talk about your podcast. And she was like, I fucking love it, and like it's like such a good time, and like it like she said something about like our best friendship being like a really bright thing and comforting thing, and I was just like,
That's what we were going for.
yeah. And well, like I kind of screamed a little bit. I was like, because I was like, it's so cool, because like it seemed like she really watches like regularly and like all the way through and stuff, and I was like,
What'd you say her name is?
Yari.
Yari, thank you so much.
Yes, thank
Yari.
you.
Thank
Shout
you for hanging
out.
with us. because
We're glad you like it.
Yeah, it means a lot to us. Because and I told her too. I was like, it feels like a mostly anonymous audience half the time.
Yeah.
But so like when people actually talk about it with us, it's like, oh, you're one of them. Like you're one of us. It makes me so happy.
We've got a new little buddy.
Yes, this is Char Char. She's such a beauty.
She's being crazy.
Yeah, she rambunctious as hell.
She just woke up from a nap.
Yes,
So she's ready to chew through wires.
Yes. You're about to get booted out the studio. She's like, do it, bitch. She's like, don't you know I run this house? Oh. She's like, see?
She really is so freaking precious.
You're pretty cute, little baby girl.
I swear, a kitten is not far from my future, or a cat generally is not far from my future. I don't think. I don't know that I have much more patience to wait.
Well, you got just tell me the word and I'll see if
Well, yeah, like I said, when they're around like 8 weeks or something, if she still hasn't found a home for him, let me know.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, yeah, that would be absolutely wicked. I would be so stoked.
I know it'd be cool for us to have sibling cats.
Yes, I think that would be really freaking cool. Would be amazing. And I love having little boys. Like, the little boys are almost always, like, really sweet. Like, I don't think I've ever had a boy that wasn't sweet. Like, and cuddly, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the girl kitties we've had, they have been less cuddly.
I think that's just how girl cats are.
Yeah, like some of them have been, but nowhere near as cuddly as the little boys.
Well, we need our emotional support animal for the shit going on in this world.
I was just about to say, has anybody been watching the news?
Yeah, so
No.
tell us what's going on, because you had mentioned some stuff about Texas, and
Yeah.
I only know a little bit, but I don't think Ron knows.
Fuck
I don't
Texas.
know shit. I haven't seen.
You don't know
any-
what's
I haven't
going on
seen
in
any
Texas?
thumbnails. I haven't seen any thumbnails of news, no headlines, no nothing. I have been absolutely out of touch.
So they're trying to re-legalize like fully all weed products, like THC
Or
products,
or-
hemp.
oh,
Criminalize,
wait.
you mean?
Or yeah, criminalize it again,
Mhm,
not
mhm.
re-legalize
In
it.
Texas?
Yeah.
Mhm. Make it illegal again.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Why?
And where is it? What's his name?
Or whatever.
No, not Abbott. Hold on, what's his freaking name?
Who is the hoe? I thought it was funny too when Dad was talking about Ryan Walters and stuff at lunch the
Yeah.
other day. I was like, okay, I'm like, this is cool. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I was like, everybody
That he hates
sees
him.
it. He's
Dan
wild.
Patrick.
Dan Patrick.
Governor Dan
okay.
Patrick. This was him talking to like at a press conference.
I don't want adults having this either. What are you, crazy? You want to know
Hold on, that's not the beginning.
I understand wanting to protect children, but you have grown adults who are using these products too. Is there a way to do this where grown adults could still have access to these products? We don't want adults having this either. What are you, crazy? You want to go home and eat a bag of this tonight? See if you're here tomorrow? This is what we focus on, kids,
Yeah, we do.
because that's where they built the shops. But adults are buying this stuff too. Make no mistake. We
Yeah.
want to protect the 20 and the 30 and the 40 and the 50-year-olds too. We don't want anybody buying anything off the shelf that could kill them or ruin their mental state for the rest of their lives.
Ruined
Like
their
the young
mental
man who was
state.
22, who stepped in front of a train after he ate some of this junk. He wasn't a kid. He was an adult. That's crazy talk. That's the kind of talk, the reason why we're here. Media that would say something as stupid as that.
Wow. Send me
Listen.
that video so I can put it in.
Yeah.
Yes, because I want you all to be able to watch it too. In fact, let me
Here,
just
I
do that
will
right
be
now.
real. I will say that there are some adults that can have a very negative reaction to THC psychologically and whatever. And
Yeah.
that is a risk. That is absolutely a risk. But I do also think that normally, not always, but normally someone will know, like the first time after they do it or the first couple of times, they'll see how they react to it and whether or not they want to do it again, you know. But as far as somebody getting to that point, you know, like that typically mainly happens with like kind of not overdosing per se, but taking a lot more than is advisable.
And I would
know?
like to know the specifics of that incident. I didn't look up the incident per
too.
se
That he was talking about.
because I'm like, I don't know. Do we not like?
And were there other substances involved?
Were there other substances involved?
And or
Was-
alcohol too.
Yeah.
alcohol was
there a
their
manic
depression?
yeah, exactly.
Stuff like
Now,
that.
yeah, and I mean, I have seen someone react very
A lot of people get panic attacks. Like I know that to be fairly common. You know, if it's not a sensation that you're familiar with, I can understand exactly how it happens.
and especially if you don't have, or you know, your tolerance is very, very low.
Exactly. Yes.
I mean, I definitely think it should be like, you know, 18 and up or whatever.
Yes.
But and then also maybe training like some of the bud tenders and stuff to just like guide people, like first timers, you know,
Yeah.
very carefully.
Yes.
Which I mean, from my understanding, a lot of them do.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Like
I will
there's
say,
even ones correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you go to dispensaries a lot. They'll even like let you sample the product, but they make you stay there until
Yeah.
you're back with it or whatever. So I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? Also, like, we're going to talk about this, but we're still going to allow alcohol to be illegal, because
Yeah.
last time I
Yeah.
checked, there's way more.
abuse
Alcohol-related
cases, like
deaths.
violence.
And alcohol related deaths.
Yeah.
Like people
I mean,
are-
they're basically trying to go back to like a prohibition era with weed specifically,
Exactly.
since we all went like more legal with it.
Dude, I mean, like, Ben and Emil actually talked about, like, the war on drugs at some point, and they were like, they, like, fucking went so hard after it that we were rooting for the drugs, you know? And I was like, yeah, I mean, like, I think, I don't think anybody's freedom should be imposed in that way when there are people who use it in the medicinal sense.
Yeah.
You know, as far as the other alternatives that are available for
I mean, it's
for
just like
pain
any other
management
medicine. If it's like any medicine can be abused,
Any
you know.
substance can be abused.
Okay, bye, Char Char.
Bye, Char Char. We love you. We'll see you in a bit. Yes, any substance can be abused. And you know, like I said, if a lot of the other alternatives for things like pain management or even like anti-seizing, anticonvulsants, stuff like that, a lot of those other options are much heavier drugs.
Yeah,
most of the
exactly.
time.
Yeah, like the hydrocodone,
Oxycodone.
those.
yes.
Yeah, and it's like doctors are prescribing that,
And they
people
are
have
killing people too.
yeah, and getting addicted in ways that
That's the whole reason that the shooting over at the hospital happened, was
Right,
because that
yeah.
guy had, like, I guess really bad back pain or something of that nature, and they weren't prescribing him any more meds, and he went fucking crazy because he was in so much pain, and then he had gotten all this help with that medication that he was probably going into like a sense of needing it.
Yeah. Well, there is a chemical dependency. I mean, like
Chemical dependency, that's what I was looking for.
yeah, the withdrawal symptoms from things like that. I mean, like hydrocodone and oxycodone, I'm actually allergic to. So the only pain med I can take is morphine when I do surgeries and stuff. But outside of that, like I try to get the morphine or get off of the morphine as soon as possible, and I just smoke for pain management for the rest of the time. Smoke or use a tincture or whatever, because it to me is actually so much less costly as far as how it affects my body. Like the morphine will make you feel way out of it. I mean, you're so drowsy and kind of weird. And hydrocodone, oxycodone, I've heard of similar.
And again,
things
it's like if
that.
you're trying to protect kids, let's start with gun control. Let's just start there. Let's also not take away free lunches for the kids who need it and give them lunch. Like, I think that's what's really frustrating about these kinds of arguments that they keep, you know,
posing. Yeah.
it's really, it's this Trumpism like tactic on everything where it's like saying like DEI is actually racist and all this stuff, you know, where it's like they're taking something
and twisting it.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, it's just really frustrating because it's also kind of like, I mean, it is kind of just like someone who's abusive to you and saying like, I'm not hitting you that hard, or why would you still be with me if I was so bad to you or whatever, you know? And I'm not saying like, you know, I don't think everybody needs weed or that, you know,
But those that can benefit from it should have the opportunity.
yeah.
to
Yes.
have it.
The access to it.
to it.
Like you
Because-
said, it's like any other medicinal drug out there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I
take
said,
take with caution, be mindful of how you're ingesting it. Like me personally, I think any kind of edible and eating of it can be
a hell of
you
a lot
can
more
have
intense.
yeah, it's a lot more
because
intense.
it's processed through the body
Right, in
differently.
different ways,
It,
yeah.
like, it hits the kidneys in an entirely different way when it's ingested.
Yeah, and I don't like I've had a bad experience on edibles, and I won't do edibles myself, like, but you know, I'll smoke here and again or whatever, and I just like that experience a lot better. I feel like I can also manage that better because I know how much I'm ingesting.
Yes.
And
And the effect is fairly immediate with smoking.
Yes.
You know how far you're getting.
yes,
When you're smoking, whereas like with edibles, I do think edibles, maybe there could be some argument there as
Yeah.
far as the potency of them.
yeah, because I do think like some edible and really, I mean, even our Oklahoma weed is a lot stronger than I think even California weed.
Yeah.
And so
and a lot
yeah,
of the
there could
THC
be
content in edibles and stuff is fairly high. Like a lot of the
Yes.
stuff that is on the market is fairly high. And so I think there at least being some means of
A little bit.
warning in that direction.
yeah.
And
Or
also-
maybe having like some regulation on edibles as far as like how high you can really make each
Exactly.
individual piece or whatever.
Right, yeah, because it's like, because you know, you if say you still want to talk to God and that's your right and whatever, then you know you can eat more of it, you know, but having each of the pieces be so strong.
Ron's like, I want to fucking
Yeah.
ascend.
There was really only one time that I ever felt like there was something like there was almost like this out of body thing, and that was when I did like a full G of a dab, and it was my first dab.
Oh,
of
I don't
my
like
life.
dabs either.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, well, it wasn't bad, but I was like, Lord, like I was like,
What just happened?
yeah, like it was.
Yeah,
kind of
that
out
you
of
will
body.
ascend.
Yeah, it was kind of out of body, and I was like, I need to lay down. I'm gonna try and nap, but really, it was just me, just like just talking to
You're
him.
like-
And be like, bro, like my whole life, like so many things are just like going through my head, and I was like,
You're
how?
like, am I reliving every moment I've ever seen ever?
yeah, well,
Yeah.
It was weird. Like,
It's like that equivalent of having like that drunk monologue with yourself in the bathroom.
yeah,
Oh my
You're like,
gosh.
listen, bitch, you're fine.
Dude, the
You're
other
gonna pull
day,
it together.
the other day, me and Adam tried this new restaurant downtown. It's called like Barron Street or something.
Okay.
Very cool, very vibey, like kind of dark academia vibes too in there. Like just like fucking so cute. And like so, I'm not like the biggest drinker, so like my max is like 2 or 3 drinks. And I love Bloody Marys because you get a little sustenance and you get a little tipsy. And so every time I went, the bathroom was also a vibe where they had like a full Bloody Mary. And like whenever I drink,
Is that where that picture was from?
yes.
That was beautiful.
Because right before that picture, I was just like twerking, just like la la la. Like whenever I
This is
have like
la.
a one drink, I'm just like, oh yeah. Like when nobody's watching me, I'm just like twerking.
You're like, you are that bitch.
Yes, yeah. I'm just like,
Truly.
yes, girl, yes. And I'm sure I look absolutely insane.
You're
So
like,
that's why
you
I do
are
it
so hot right now.
alone. And then right before I have to go out the bathroom, I'm like, okay, be normal again. La la la. Walk really normal. Not
And like, you're
tipsy
probably
at all.
definitely not walking normal at all. You're like, I am so normal right now.
Yeah.
Strut. I'm sure you looked fine.
Yeah, and I
Who
mean, like
knows?
me and drinking, like I've never really had the opportunity to really drink. I won't lie, I put it down my tube one time in attempts to sleep. It was some rum, I think, that we had for baking. It was like some Jamaican rum, and I put it down the tube, and not only did it not make me sleep, but it burned like a motherfucker, because it's just direct in the jejunum. And I just like ran around my kitchen in a circle, just like, oh fuck, why did I do that?
Oh my god.
And yeah, it didn't help me sleep at all. And I was like, never again.
Oh my gosh.
No.
girl, that sounds horrible.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, I don't think I'm really missing out when it comes to drinking. I feel like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think maybe if I was healthy or whatever, maybe one drink would be
Yeah.
like cool and fine or whatever.
Yeah.
But most of the time I'm like, I like to smoke, and smoking gets me in a good spot, you know, where I don't feel out of control ever.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing with smoking for me, is that like I mean, I feel like I might be a little slower, you know, I might be like slower to react or like, you know, fumbling in speech a little bit. But as far as like feeling like I lose control of like, you know, my bodily motions or anything like that, or like, you know, like people when they're drunk kind of can, I never feel like that.
Yeah.
Even when I smoke a lot, I'll be surprised sometimes. Like I'll smoke, like last night I had smoked a lot. I was like, I feel like normal.
Well, I think
feel
too, once
fine.
your tolerance is pretty
Yeah.
built, like then it's as far as like any smoking goes, like it'll still probably just be at a chill place.
Yeah, and well, I feel like with the vapes in particular, I think those do kind of up your tolerance in a way.
Yeah, I think it significantly does. And then also it like the vapes kind of, it's a different from the smoke, you know?
It is as far as the high.
Yeah, because like with the vaping, it feels like you can, you know, it feels like you're not kind of stoned a little bit.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But
yeah, it just feels cleaner in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Where like when you're actually smoking, there's almost, just because of how it's being ingested with the smoke, there's almost like a bit more of a heaviness to it.
Yeah.
In a way where it's like it hits more immediately too. Whereas like with the vapes, like I do try to be pretty careful with them too, because they can be really strong. And it's like sometimes you don't know how high you're getting until you like start feeling sick or whatever. And I mean, like for me, that's kind of a standard normal thing, but like for other people, like I've known that that's a thing. Like sometimes they'll just hit it so much and then they'll start feeling sick because they didn't realize how far they already were, you know?
I mean, it's just like, you know, with anything else, you just have to, you know, be mindful when you're partaking or whatever.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I have seen one person react very, like I've never seen anybody react like that from just one puff. But you know, I think, I don't know, it was interesting with that person because they knew that they like really can't smoke. So I was just kind of not knowing why they did it again.
Self-sabotage.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think sometimes people, you know, because they see how everybody else reacts to it, they're like,
maybe
well,
I'll be fine.
Yeah, maybe it was a bad strain, or maybe it was this, or maybe it was that, so I'll try again, and then the same effect and whatever.
Because I've heard like people who have like schizophrenia or any kind of like mental thing like that, it doesn't really match with them very well.
Well, right. If you already struggle with any degree of like paranoia, it can certainly intensify that. And even within, you know, different, like when people talk about the side effects of weed, paranoia is kind of the one that can pop up the most. So like I said, if you're kind of already predisposed to that kind of thinking, then like adding that element will probably intensify it. And it is almost, if that is something you've already recognized for yourself, avoiding it is just as good, you know. And if you want something else to relax or whatever that isn't psychoactive, there's stuff like CBD, you know, because that was something that Chad and I would do for a good long while there, where we would just get like the CBD cones. So it was just CBD weed, but not weed, you know, like it was great actually. Like even for me, I found it very relaxing.
Yeah, there were points when my anxiety was really bad, especially like before going on stage, where I would do CBD, but I felt like I could still be silly and stuff and be like energetic enough, but just calm down a little bit, where I didn't feel like I was gonna pass away.
Yeah, perish live in front of everyone. But no, yeah, I mean, like I could live without weed. I might not necessarily want to, but I could. I know that I can tolerate my symptoms and stuff without it. However, without CBD, I would not be good. And like if they are talking about for Texas or whatever, yeah, just like
it's like hemp, CD,
I thought
CBD,
they are
weed, all like.
And that's what's crazy
THC.
to me. If they really want to make that argument or whatever, you know, for like
CBD, I've never seen anybody have a bad reaction to CBD.
And actually, children, it's safe for children who have seizures. And
I've
stuff
literally
to
seen
take
videos
CBD.
of kids actively having seizures or
and them using something.
and them doing it, and then immediately immediately almost it's like it starts to cease, and it's
yes, it's in my
you
opinion.
can't tell me that it doesn't work.
And,
Well, and it is
it's not medicinal in that way,
Right.
because like and as far as again other anticonvulsants on the market like Xanax, like clonazepam,
and that's also way more expensive for people.
and way more addictive.
Yeah, that's probably why they.
and there's
know.
stuff like
again, it
Keppra and
just
stuff
I
too,
just
but
it just makes me so mad because it's like if you want to protect the children, we see the most dangerous thing right now for them is going to school. That's kind of messed up, you know. Like people are the way that teachers have to like prepare, because like there was also I didn't save the video, but now I kind of wish I had. I forget this guy's name, and I gotta. Maybe I'll edit it in the bottom of what this governor's name is, but he was questioning this other guy because they were trying to pass this Furries Act. Did you hear about that? I think it was also in Texas.
you had mentioned it at lunch yesterday, but I didn't know what you were talking about.
Well, so they were trying to pass this bill to like. Basically, they're trying to like demonize public schools and make them be like, look what's happening. They're giving kids litter boxes because there's kids who are furries and acting like cats or whatever. And the other guy was like, so is this can you name a school that's providing these litter boxes and stuff? And he was like, no. And then like a lot of the comments are like, yeah, we don't provide litter boxes, but we do have a bucket in case there's a live shooter in the place and kids need to go to the bathroom and they can't like leave the room or whatever. Yeah. And so, you know, like that's where it's just like, it's just so frustrating because it's just like, you know, you're trying to make a
problem that doesn't exist,
yes,
and ignoring the actual problem. And
that's where it's like,
and if running around acting like a cat when you're like 5 makes you a furry, then I was definitely a furry.
I think they were talking about high school.
Well, still, you know, but that's insane.
Well, then they need to put that kid in fucking therapy because why are they shitting in litter boxes?
But that's the thing.
But
like they didn't have anything to back it up.
Exactly.
There was
like
no,
it's almost like they go off of these like weird
the conspiracy
rumors.
theories. Yeah.
And then they just run with them like they are actually happening.
Fact.
And it's
and really, I do think it is that thing where it's like Trump is trying to get all these different things going. The Furries Act, the taking away the weed in Texas, like all these different things to overwhelm us and just be like, make you feel also like you don't really have power in the situation. But you know what, Trump? We do have power because guess what? Each one of us has got just as much power as you, except not the richest, but maybe. But we will glean that power with our love.
Yeah, right.
With our fucking joy.
Yeah, straight up. Okay. And that's stronger than that fucking bullshit that they spew.
It's always stronger than evil.
Oh my goodness.
No, but I mean it is, I don't know, it's massively disheartening to see the things
the
that
regression.
they pick at. Yes, yeah. And it's just like, dude, like if they could focus on any actual problems, that would be really fucking cool, you know? And I mean, even when it comes to like, you know, the way that he talks about immigration and whatever, and like it's all of these criminals and whatever, but then also still trying to kick out kids that are here like legally for school and stuff. It's like you're foolish.
I do want to give a
racist. Goddamn.
I want to give a shout out to Miss Rachel because I don't know if you know.
She did something recently. I saw something. I just can't remember what it was.
Yeah, so she's been speaking out for the kids in Gaza right now because they're starving, and they're not getting any help.
Didn't she like do like a live thing where she could talk to them too, or like via video, or was it just live?
I thought she like spoke to them. She's been doing a lot, like because she also had one of the Gazan kids, be on her show or whatever, and like, you know, sing with them and everything. But yeah, you know, she's really been active in speaking out.
She's just like a normal person.
Yeah,
taking that on herself. And
and she is getting a lot of like hate and backlash. But
those haters can fucking suck it.
And she's really like, it's not controversial. These are kids of God. Just like if your religion's telling you to protect the kids, it's not just some of them, it's all of them, you know.
And just so y'all know, Jesus was a Palestinian. So
Facts.
it's like, I don't understand.
I didn't know that, but yeah.
Well, it's like, I mean, they I don't know how they've managed to dehumanize everyone in Gaza.
And that's really the thing. It's just like constant dehumanization
In all these different directions.
The kids in Gaza, trans people,
Mhm. Like fucking 1%
Like-
of the population is suddenly the boogeyman. Like, you
Yeah.
know, like they're really gonna fucking ruin your life, dude. There's so few of them. Like, you're picking on the lowest, like the most marginalized communities, and getting away with it. And it's just like, dude.
And it
like,
is frustrating because it's like I have people in my life who are kind of repeating these same sentiments where it's like, you know, I know a lot of people may have like cut off like their MAGA friends or family or whatever, and the friends that I have who might be leaning in that direction, they've been friends with me since, you know, over 10 plus years and all this stuff. And like, I also saw this TikToker read a letter from her mom where she kind of said the same thing. Like, I know a lot of people have cut off their family, but she's like, I love my mom, and, you know, I know she loves me too, but she is like, you know, in the MAGA, like kind of brainwashed state. And because her mom had wrote her and her aunts this letter of like feeling ostracized a little bit and stuff. And it's like, it's so crazy because it's like these marginalized communities have maybe felt that feeling, and now it's like they're feeling it because they're being so intense on some of these hateful
opinions.
That it makes it hard. It does, because it's like it makes it hard if you're still friends with someone like that, because it feels like you're supporting it or something.
Or like, you can have a feeling of like being complicit in some way, or you can have a feeling of like even just feeling disconnected and like judged.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, so you feel that way about them. Like, how do you actually feel about me, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Because like I have a friend who will like mention these comments about the queer community or trans people, and it is up to me to like say something. And to be honest, like, I'm gonna be real, like I haven't fully talked to this person about it yet, because
it's like you want to be able to have the conversation in a way so that it's actually heard.
I don't want them to feel like
attacked
I'm just
or something.
or like, because I know at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to convince this person
to feel differently per se,
to change their mind,
but just kind of say where you are, you know.
But I guess basically say, like, you know, these things that you say do hurt my feelings, because, you know, me and my sister are part of the queer community, and we have a lot of friends and family and stuff that we love dearly, and like,
yes. And that's the most painful irony of it too, is that like they are so hateful to one of the most loving communities there are.
And it is weird because it is also like tied up in their religion, where it's like, I don't dislike religion. You know, I love God and I think Jesus is dope, but
well, you know what Jesus said the most important commandment was? Love thy neighbor, love thy God. Not don't love or, you know, hate your neighbor if he's gay.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's fucking love your neighbor, love your God. That's you know, if you want to claim to be a Christian, man, I mean, like we've talked about before, even like not on the podcast, with a lot of the conservatives and stuff, and the way that they twist religion, they are behaving in the least Christ-like ways possible, not serving the vulnerable, not serving the weak, the least of us in any real compassionate way. They are dehumanizing left and right and left, and it's just like, dude, like it feels like, I mean, you know, I think a lot of his supporters feel like, well, you know, I'm you know, not any of these others groups yet. But the thing is that like, as far as like the class war that we're gonna see,
and then
it's like you are on the bottom of the totem pole for them, as far as like you know, how they actually plan not to serve you and serve instead the wealthiest of us. And it's just like your loyalty to them is
Very blind.
Yeah, it is.
Well, and like they also just passed like the big beautiful bill or whatever,
Yeah,
and so like some like Trump people were like, yay, no tax like on tips and like all this stuff, but it's like there's these other things written under that, you know, that are like where they're gonna take the money from. And you know, some of that does involve like people
the
on
most vulnerable of us.
Yeah.
The most and
I think that's also frustrating too, because they're like, yay, this benefits me, and like, you know, but it's like it does until it doesn't, you know.
Like,
I don't
it's
know.
not long until that disdain or disregard or even hatred comes for you.
And I think like it's difficult too, because it's like I just like find, you know, so it's like I'm not a Christian, but I do like during this time constantly be like, what would Jesus do at this time, you know, like, and like with the people that I have in my life who are like maybe, you know, repeating some of these like hateful things and stuff. And I really think like, what would he do? I'm like,
well, you know,
because I'm like, what? I don't think he would just cut them off. And because like I also, you know I also have other friends who are like, you're a stupid piece of shit for loving Trump.
Well,
blah, 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 you know.
Yeah, and well, actually, like kind of what you're speaking to, like with different people, like not necessarily cutting off their families because there is love and whatever. I do think that, you know, the brainwashing has just gone so deep, and the internet just kind of made it so pervasive and insidious in a way that, and like,
there are things on all sides that we can fall for, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Where it's like, it's not just in the MAGA, you know, there's other things too where I'm questioning videos that I'm watching too.
Exactly,
I mean, especially with the new AI, you know?
I know, yeah.
Which we're going to talk about that after this.
Yeah, it is going to be extremely difficult to confidently discern what is real.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty scary.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for so many people, particularly within, you know, the MAGA group, that has been the case for a long time now. You know, where it's like they kind of pick and choose like Newsmax or whatever, and only take that at face value and deny everything else. And it's so but with that too, it's like, I think that I don't know how long it will be or whatever, but granted that some of them actually come back to like kind of being deprogrammed in a way. Like maybe after, you know, Trump passes or whatever, like I think they do need some means of reconnecting back with reality in a way.
And see, that's the thing though, is that once he fucking goes, it's like
there's all these
JD's gonna still be there. Like,
and that's kind of why I haven't like cut off my other people that I know that are in this, because I'm like,
what if they
you're
come to their senses?
in a, if you don't have any friends who don't believe in the same thing that you do, like you're then just fully in the bubble, you know?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. You're like fully in stuck in your own silo kind of thing.
Yeah. And the thing about like the people that I have in my life, like I do still love them. So like I
get it.
You know, I mean, even if I like were to cut them out of my life, like I would still love them, you know?
Yes.
Because I don't know. I sometimes wonder if some of the things that they're going through is what kind of leans them into this way of believing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, I'm sure it is.
The ones that I know that are in this are like have had very intense trauma in their childhood that kind of, you know, I know for some of them, like, cling on to religion like this is, you know, what will save me from the things I've been through, and I totally get that, you know.
There's definitely a difference between taking something and letting it guide you versus taking something and
letting it blind you.
Exactly. Yeah, like, taking it word for word and like it's to look at the Bible and be like, yeah. Well, 2025, this is what we need to be living by. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Times were different when this was written.
And it's almost like those people completely ignore the New Testament too. Like all the parts with Jesus, they're like, yeah, like I am a Christian, but yeah, like, yeah, Jesus is kind of irrelevant. Like what, as far as like the ways to live and stuff. The New Testament really is, or Jesus's words are I feel like should be the central focus out of everything, you know, because so much of what happened before, like different denominations will kind of either look at it more as like metaphor or more as like allegory or whatever, and not necessarily taking it literally or whatever. And so, you know, like kind of just like a sacred stories kind of thing, but not necessarily believing that that's how we should be living now, you know, and taking it to that point is ridiculous. I mean, you know, it is just like, I just don't know how everything that Jesus says or said would be what's lost on everybody, you know. I don't think it's true for all Christians by any means.
Yeah, because I've definitely seen a lot of Christians online, at least, be like, yeah, I'm a Christian and I do not support this bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've known so many loving Christians in my life, even loving to the queer, loving to the and like I know different churches that have gay clergy and stuff, and that's fucking awesome. And I think like I love to see that. But everybody else is so loud.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I do think too, like for some people it also, like during the pandemic, kind of pushed them more towards like MAGA and stuff because of like the whole vax stuff with kind of making it seem like an exclusive club, like, oh, these people are vaxxed and you're not, and you can't come in here. And you know, I think the thing that's interesting, like we have like a specific experience with like Ron being sick. Like we really couldn't take risks, you know. I think if you are more able-bodied and your family, you know, you didn't have anybody immunocompromised, yes, you and you like being more holistic or whatever, and I mean, I think that in the past of history, like vaccines on Native Americans and brown people have also been
like they were almost used as like testers in a way.
Yeah, like they weren't like they were
properly tested before they were used on them.
Yeah, like the whole process was not a good situation. It was kind of abused. So I can understand that mistrust in government, you know. You know, I mean, I think hindsight is 2020. I think we can look back at the pandemic and kind of, you know, I do think, you know, during the pandemic was so interesting because it's like we were trapped in our homes, which, you know, in some degree is like not the worst thing that could have happened as far as like, you know, we're not on the lost island with no clean underwear or whatever, you know, we could still have some like basic necessities. Yeah. But then we were also only getting like, you know, our information and stuff from the news. And then also just remember, like, I just get flashbacks sometimes of seeing the countdown of like how many people were dying every second from it. Yeah. And, you know, that's pretty intense. So I don't know, you know, I mean, I think like I can just feel defeated or something in this. 'Cause it's like, I don't necessarily want to just say that everybody's stupid who doesn't like believe what we believe or whatever.
I mean, like we talked a little bit about maybe there being some like I hate to say it, but like lack of wisdom or whatever, but I mean, like as far as like say like how I would feel in instances like you were talking about with different friends and stuff, like I do offer pushback. It's not necessarily like it's not abrasive. Like I'm not like you're wrong and you're ignorant or whatever.
Yeah. Well, you're really good at it, I think.
Well, and actually what you described as far as saying like this is actually really hurtful to me and the people that I love, you know, like and I understand that you may not understand it, but like the framing that you're using for us just isn't fair.
And it's also like so random and unnecessary comments, you know, where it's just like that person is doing nothing but existing, and then you're over here judging them for what they're wearing and all this stuff, and it's like, why? Yeah, I just I just never really understood that, but maybe that's also because I have felt misunderstood at times, and I like, you know, we like to dress like uniquely or whatever, and especially in Tulsa, I feel like you know, you can get more looks and stares. I mean, there's definitely a facet of like the indie Tulsa and like, you know, like downtown, like, you know, where everybody dresses so cool and awesome. Yeah. But in like South Tulsa and things, you know, it can feel a little like, you know, people are gawking here and there. Because like when I went to New York, man, shit, I felt like I belonged. I could wear anything out there. I'd be like, yeah, boy.
Yeah. Like everywhere's a runway, kind of.
So yeah, I mean,
I mean, well, and so much of that too, sometimes I wonder comes from like, I don't know, like I don't know, maybe they've had people comment on what they're wearing or something.
I mean, probably
throughout life, yeah, because I don't think that these internal
a lot of the projection,
yeah,
a lot of the projection that people put onto others is things that they either wish that they could do themselves or that they are just incapable of doing, and it's
I think too, like you know, the people that I know that say certain things, like I know that they're probably hurting a little bit, and they're really going through something. So like that's the only grace I can give them, but I do think I need to be better about like kind of confronting them. Because I'm really like
nobody's good at confrontation. Let me just say that. Like I feel like people can be kind of hard on themselves when they feel like they can't confront certain things, and it's like, dude, like I mean, nobody is good at it. Nobody feels confident in you know approaching a subject like that is sensitive.
But that is why I really enjoy this and like our podcast, because it's like, you know, we were talking downstairs about like how we're truly like able to be ourselves with each other, and also just we've known each other for so long, so we just like can flow with our dynamic and stuff, and that makes me also like feel like more confident, I guess, in myself after I'm done like filming the podcast or whatever, because it's
and like your beliefs and stuff too, in a way.
Yeah, because like you guys give me the freedom to like be myself and the confidence, so that way, you know, maybe if I find myself in another situation like that, you know, I can actually be like, you know, say something in
like
the
just
moment.
kind of channel that strength of the strength that you feel with us. You know, because I mean, and honestly, I do think that I mean, most of the time when I do offer like pushback in a certain way, like most of the time it actually doesn't seem to fall on deaf ears. Like it
well, you have the ability like to change people's minds, you know, like we have friends and stuff that you've changed people's minds on like weed and all of that, because you are, I don't know, like, I mean, I think because you are more Jesus-like, and you're able to like really approach things with love in a way that like, I think a lot of people maybe in that situation could let their anger or hurt kind of like affect how they're approaching that situation, you know?
Right. Yeah. And well, that's because that's never going to be the intent for me. Like if I'm going as far as to offer pushback, it is almost because I love you, you know, and that I kind of want you to understand why certain things are harmful, and that it's not just toxic outwardly, it's toxic inwardly. Like a lot of these different framings that people can have, it is toxic inwardly too. So I feel like it's not good for them either, and it can be even limiting for themselves, you know, too. And so, like, I mean, I want people to feel like I am approaching it in love, because it is because I care about you that I want you to understand, you know, that it doesn't have to be like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether you're Christian or not, like, it never has to be like that.
Yeah.
And almost particularly if you are Christian, brother.
Yeah.
My brother in Christ. My brother in Christ. No, but I don't know. I kind of go, I like vacillate between like feeling really fucking scared and then like a little hopeful, and really fucking scared and then like a little hopeful. And so like yesterday I had my disability.
I was just about to ask you about that.
Yeah, girl.
I knew where you were going. I was like,
We're on the fucking flow, dude.
Yeah, I had my disability review appointment, and like there were a lot of elements of it that made me very leery and kind of scared, honestly. And part of that was that it wasn't like every well, I mentioned it in the last one. It wasn't a scheduled one for one. It wasn't something that I would have otherwise been prepared for. And it was with a nurse instead of with a doctor. And when I was talking with her about it too, like it seemed like she was actually kind of scared for us too. Like she doesn't make the determination herself, you know, she just gives them the information, and the Social Security Administration makes the determination. And she actually had a daughter with very similar issues as myself, and it had a GJ tube at one point. She doesn't have it anymore, but she actually did seem to have a particular conception of like, you know, the things that I have to deal with and stuff, which was comforting in a lot of ways. But then she also went so far as to say, like, you know, my daughter's only 14, and I worry about how it's going to be when she is of working age, how hard it might actually, how hard it might be to get her disability.
Yeah, exactly. Because one, it's not just for you now, it's for the future generations. It's not just us.
Yeah, and well, like
it's our children. And
she had talked to me too that the man that was in there before me, he was fairly immobile, and it was 40 years since they made him go in person to do that kind of thing. And he was like, I don't know how I'm expected to get here and do this when you know, everything that makes me disabled makes it hard for me to get here. But if I don't get here, I'm losing my livelihood. I could potentially lose my livelihood. And there was even like a bit of an almost mix up at the beginning too, where like the text service that she was using with the receptionist like wasn't going through, and so she was about to mark me down as not being there, but she walked out and actually saw that I was there, and I was like, fucking thank God, because like there's so many little tiny mishaps like that really could cost somebody their livelihood. And even with this, I was talking about it with Chad this morning too, is that like okay, if our parents had a regular, like if they didn't work for themselves and make their schedule, you know, the mom being available to take me to something like that at, you know, 10 in the morning and whatever, and like I have to be there. If I didn't have the support system, like I talked about on one of the last episodes, like me being able to get there would have been next to impossible, particularly because it was on like the end of the month, and that's when I'm always out of money, that I would not have been able to Uber. I would not have been able to afford an Uber at that point. And it's like, I mean, you know, it just seems very backwards. And you know, we had started an episode of a podcast with Ezra Klein or whatever, where he was kind of talking about, you know, the Medicaid and Social Security situation, and he feels like it's the most likely thing is that they're just going to make it as hard as possible, kind of, to like stay on. Like they're going to keep mandating certain things, and well, like with the big beautiful bill and stuff too, they were talking about different work requirements for food stamps and whatever. And like you know, if you want to make an argument for people that don't have kids or something, maybe, but I don't even think that's fair. I think everybody fucking deserves to eat, regardless of their capabilities or social capabilities in working or whatever.
Tell you what,
it's
Jesus
just
would
back
give
to
that person a food.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's going to get so much worse if they can't even eat.
It all comes back to the dehumanization.
Right. Yeah. And well, like with food stamps in particular, like say there is a parent that isn't capable of working, whether that's due to mental or physical issues or whatever, and so they can't meet the work requirements, even if you were to make an argument that that parent isn't like fucking trying hard enough or whatever, which is not true, those kids still deserve to eat.
Yeah,
like those kids still deserve to eat. And even if you say it's like a really neglectful parent or whatever, or an abusive parent,
it's not the
like,
kid's fault.
Exactly.
They're relying on that adult.
Yes,
or
and,
adults,
and that adult just can't rely on themselves or whatever for whatever reason. And so to take that away from the kids is like, hello, like where's the
it's
logic,
gross,
dude?
It's gross.
It's really gross.
And that's where, again, protect the kids right there. How about do that?
Yeah, dude, protect them after they're born. Like you fight so hard for them to be born, brother.
That's
protect
what
them after they're born. Help them out after they're born. You know, there's no reason why any child should go without food, you know. And with food stamps particularly, dude, it's not like, you know, like disability or whatever, which can be spent on other things. Food stamps, you can only use it for food. Like, so you're truly only meeting,
and it's
that
also
need.
usually the lowest quality of food.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Well, I mean, actually, like in Oklahoma, there's even a deal that they have with different farmers markets. SNAP
Oh,
does.
really?
Yes, where you can get double your value essentially. Like if you go to a farmer's market with your SNAP card, then you can spend twice as much and get twice as much for the price of like half of
I
that.
retract my statement.
Yeah, I mean, like the SNAP system really is a great benefit to freaking everybody that needs it, you know. And I mean, it still doesn't even really get much, because I mean, like most of the time it'll be like $200 a month, you know, for somebody, and that's really not a lot. Like most people spend at least $100 a week on food, at least, you know. I mean, like you do a Walmart order that'll be like $150, and it's not even that much shit, dude. And it's just like I don't know, like for them to complain almost like in this way that makes them seem like they're entitled and stuff and all this bullshit. It's like, dude, they're not asking for much. You know, they're not getting very much. It's just enough to hopefully survive.
And it's always these fucking rich assholes that are the ones talking about it. And I'm like,
about it.
you're not the one that's having to use food stamps, so why the fuck do you care? Like,
Yeah.
and they're like, because my money's paying for it. And I'm like,
Not really, dude. You probably got
What?
tax write-offs half your fucking life, dude.
you've probably gotten tax write-off half your life.
Game the fucking system.
And the
with
fact that you would
stocks.
even make that argument at the fact that it's simply because they make more money that they shouldn't have to take care of other people. It's like that amount is nothing to you.
Right. Yeah. Like it's
And you're
not even a
complaining
drop
about
in the
feeding
bucket.
children? Like, you're gross.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, like, you know,
And I mean, people in the comments will be like, well, it's not our fucking responsibility to take care of your kids or let feed you and blah, blah, blah. And it's
And
like,
Jesus would be like, bruh, it
Yeah.
actually is.
yeah, bruh, actually
You're
hand them some
suppo-
bread.
yeah.
Like fucking, it's silly. It's absolutely silly.
Sorry, I
'cause
don't
it's
mean to
like,
interrupt.
oh, no, you're
so much
good.
with
You're
it.
good.
No, but I mean, it's like
It just makes me so mad.
yeah.
It just makes me
because
so mad.
there's like so many worse things that your tax dollars could be spent on than hungry children.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like, I don't
It's
know, fucking
like-
football stadiums for high
or
schools.
like fucking the war in Gaza. You know,
That too.
Like, I mean, there's all that bullshit, you know, and it's just like, dude, I mean, like there's just, and again, like if you want to complain about the parents or whatever the fuck, but it's not just the parents being affected. It would be their children, you know, and it's just
Children that can't change their circumstances.
exactly
Because I'm sure that they
exactly.
would if they could.
Right, and a lot of those parents probably would too.
Yeah. A lot of the parents probably would too.
You know, and there really are so many weird fucking like requirements and stuff, even with disability. Like I have a friend who has a disabled child, and so but she can only receive that disability if she works less than part-time, kind of, you know. So it's like there's almost no way for her to get ahead, because it's like if she works more to earn more, then she loses the disability, and then so it cancels
It's
out.
almost like they're trying to keep people in that
Yes,
box.
keep people stuck. And actually, like
Yeah.
if you start to have a savings account or whatever, that can affect how much you get with disability or whatever. So it's like if you try to become financially secure, it's like you're kind of punished for it in a way. And instead of it actually helping you get to security, it's keeping you from full security or whatever. And having those
It's just a big fucking rigmarole of bullshit.
it is, yeah. And I mean, like, you know, even when I was living with the parents and stuff, and I was getting food stamps for a time, but then their business actually started doing pretty well, and so I lost the food stamps, you know. And it's like, you know, so it's like you want your
Simply
business to
because-
do well.
Simply because you resided there and they were doing well.
Yes, exactly, yeah. And like whenever I get
So
on
like, would you
chats
have to fill out forms or something that said that like you don't pay rent and this, that, the other?
Exactly. Well, I list like the expenses that I have and
Right.
stuff, and so like whenever I go onto Chad's lease and stuff, I probably actually will if they don't take me off a disability and stuff.
But fucking not.
I probably actually would be able to get food stamps back.
I told Ron if she loses disability, we're going out in the streets, y'all. I'm about to buy a megaphone.
Well, and that was actually something that I found
Protest
myself,
checklist.
that was what I found myself pretty frustrated with, like that thought of like, without mom, without you, without Chad, without all these people or whatever, even me just getting to that fucking appointment would have been, not done. It wouldn't have been able to happen. But so
I would be curious to know who that man voted for that came in before you.
I know.
If he did vote.
Yeah.
Considering he can't get out.
It might have been like a by mail thing or whatever, but
not that would change my mind on the fact that he should not have gotten
had to do that.
Yeah. But I would be very curious because it's like,
well, and so many of his own people, if he keeps going in this direction of trying to get as many people cut as possible, then
they'll be doing acrobatics backwards.
Yeah, well, because I mean, which
we can only hope, honestly.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that might be like the only fucking benefit of it all, is if it did actually wake some people up to the fact that he doesn't want to serve them.
What do you
Social Security is what you earned.
What do you guys think about him stating that he wasn't gonna run again? Do you think that that's a bold ass lie, or do you think that he really isn't
for a third
term?
He actually said that.
He has stated that he's not running in 2028.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm like, okay, so then what were those 2028 hats? Like, what was all that then?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's just another gaslighting lie,
That's why I'm saying, like, do you guys think it's like a bold lie, like a bold-faced lie, or do you think he really thinks that he's not?
I would love for him to be real. I would love for him to say, yeah, I'm fucking retiring after this shit or whatever, but I don't know. I mean, I think if he feels like it's what the people wants, he'll probably still do it anyway,
Run.
But yeah. But I mean, I have a hard time believing that he will easily relinquish power.
That's what I'm
saying. The first time around,
that's what I'm saying. And I can just only hope that since he got what he wanted, that he'll just let it go.
Yeah,
but
right.
I don't know. I don't foresee it. What do you think, Ashlyn?
It's hard to say.
I mean, I feel like with him, he just wants to be like the most wealthy, most powerful, most loved. Like, he doesn't want anyone around him saying any shit. He's like, you better kiss my toes.
Not the toes.
And
that would be awful.
Yeah, because then he was like, just the other day he was saying something like, oh, I don't know why Putin's doing this, like sending more bombs to Ukraine, whatever. And it's like, that's a lie. I just feel like that's a lie, because it's like, then we
all know why he's sending bombs over there.
And also, it's just like, it is crazy, because it's like, there are like some people who are maybe more in the middle who did end up going to Trump. Like, there was one point where we could have mostly all agree as humans in America that Putin was bad, but then slowly Trump's like, I'm just gonna go have a cup of coffee with them, actually. Cool. It's gonna be fine. And then they get closer and closer. Oh, it's busy.
Oh, so
don't even.
Full card?
Yeah,
poise.
Okay, well, here, I'm a pee. Okay. No, dude, I feel like I hurt myself worse than most people ever do.
Well, we were just talking about how you and I both have like some crazy mystery bruises.
Dude, I got the same situation going on.
There's one like right here, and I'm like, that's
how?
I'm like, what on earth could have hit me?
Maybe you like went, you did something.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like,
a little
bit.
bit.
I'm like, I don't know. Bodies are weird. Bodies are silly.
You're also pretty accident prone.
Yeah, me too. I'm honestly the least spatially
I know, I said
aware
you.
person. Oh.
I'm like, yeah, girl, I'm talking about you.
Yeah, I mean, my spatial awareness has been trash since I was a kid, and that's
oh my gosh, improved. It's kind of, I mean, I feel like I'm kind of similar, because I'm definitely walking into a lot of stuff. But when she was little, I would check
everything.
right into counters. Like, you know, I mean, maybe she was also growing, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was
But-
definitely that. Like, I used to be able to fit under the counters and stand.
So
And
you
then
would
one day
she would walk so confidently towards it.
You know the whole say it with your chest? She walked into things with her whole
a
chest.
whole chest.
Dude, yeah, and then I would be like looking back, like having a conversation or whatever,
just,
as
like,
we're,
turn
in
into
a
something.
Well, yeah, we'd be like in a parking lot, the fucking like rear view mirrors would just smack me in the face.
Oh my
You know?
gosh.
And then you know those fucking fucking 2-door things that have like a divider in the schools and
gosh,
stuff.
Rhonda.
I would be having conversations. It was probably
God.
normally with you, fucking directly,
just straight
direct
up
contact.
straight up Hillary Duffin.
Yeah,
you know?
all over
Lizzie
the place.
McGuire style.
All over the place. It was endless.
I think that's why Lizzie McGuire was so like relatable,
Relatable.
because it was like, oh my gosh, I did that exact thing. I mean, sometimes they get crazy where she's like pulling the curtains in graduation by accident. That's like,
Yeah.
I would be embarrassed. I mean, like that'd definitely be hard.
Damn, Lizzie. Damn.
Damn, girl.
No, but I mean, honestly, in a lot of ways, it did kind of like humble me from a young age to just be like, yes, I'm going to constantly embarrass myself, and there's not really anything I can do about it.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, the spatial awareness. I wish it was something I could get a better grasp on, but I feel like actually, as I got sick and whatever, it's like everything moves in ways that I just don't have. I don't have good control.
She's moving.
She's moving about, and I think we lost a lot.
Yeah, we lost a lot, but that's all right. You know, we're getting to the end of this. where
Yeah,
it's
we
like,
are indeed.
Things
Fuck
are
you,
falling
light.
apart. Cameras are shutting off. Lights are shutting down.
Baby's waking
We're
up.
like, where's the fucking crew? Shit, dog.
Where
Oh, wait,
are
that's
they?
us. Goddamn.
Shit.
But I'm not gonna get the fucking battery and watch it still without the light.
They're like, that
Got
light was
two
what
lights, okay.
was, the light is what was doing it for them. They're like, shit,
Yeah,
no more.
that
I'm
third
out.
light can't do it.
Then it's like closing time. Everything just starts turning on. Oh God. Well,
No, but thank
I
you
don't
for
know.
hanging out with us. You know, this one,
Ryan is like, okay, I'm fucking
We're just like done.
like honestly, was very cathartic for me. I think.
Yeah, I was feeling things.
Yeah, I think talking about a lot of this actually was pretty nice. Because I think like particularly with stuff like the marijuana stuff, I like that. I feel like I can talk about the directions in which I might be able to agree with some of these people, as far as like I said, like talking about the potency of some of these and stuff. Like I
Yeah.
think that there is a lot of middle, a lot of gray, and a lot of the things that we talk about, and
Yeah.
but still being able to say like what I was talking about too with certain friends or whatever, and talking about the harm that can be caused
Yeah.
unintentionally. I think sometimes like I
Yeah.
do think that sometimes it is a hateful, bigoted kind of thing, but sometimes I also think it's just like almost like an aversion to something that they think it could be like taken as weird or whatever. Like they just like they are just kind of almost intimidated by it or something in some weird way, and they're just like, what's that about?
I
And
just
it's
think that
like,
they're ignorant.
yeah.
Because like I said, I mean, if you're going to sit there and say that about weed, then we need to have a discussion about alcohol. I mean, there's a reason that it that we went into prohibition with that in the first place. Don't get me wrong.
Word.
I like a good cocktail, but if we're
far
going
as
if we're going
somebody's
to
rights go
yeah.
and having accessibility to these things, you know, like infringing on it isn't gonna make any of those problems go away.
I mean, it was that people were getting it before it was legalized,
Exactly,
whether
yeah.
that be recreationally or medically. I just think it's gross that they're trying to take it away when I'm sure there's tons and tons of people that
And again,
that benefit from it there.
And some of the gray there to me is like, why the fuck the CBD though?
Exactly.
Like, because I'm like, that is
And
something
hemp.
that is
Like
yeah.
even like I'm pretty sure that
lotions and stuff.
hemp lotion, like all that shit. They're like, no more in Texas. We're done. We're Texas. And I'm like,
But brother, yeah, like that's
why don't we
the-
fucking
even,
let
like,
Texas break off already? Like they fucking want it so bad. Listen, I was born in Texas. I lived there for a very short time, but my dad lived there for a long time for work. So, I mean, we were back and forth for many years. So I do have like a connection with that state. And it does make me sad that my home state, in a way, my home state, because like I said, I didn't live there very long, but to be from somewhere and know that
just that's the way the tides are turning, over there.
That's the way that those people. I'm like, what would have happened if we would have stayed in Texas? Like,
And
like,
one of my other friends who lives in Texas says that like some of the gay and trans people are like moving out of state
because it's scary there.
It's not
people
a
are
safe
very
place.
intense unless you're living in like the bigger cities such as like Dallas
like Austin
or Austin. They're very I mean, apparently not this election because that entire fucking state was red. But I would like to go in on the like towns and stuff and see like what the blue to red ratio was in like the bigger in the inner cities and stuff.
I mean, like, we spent a lot of time in like Midland and Lubbock in our like early years, and over there, it was pretty chill. I mean, it was a smaller town kind of thing with both of them. And I met kind people all in every direction as far as neighbors and whatever. But man, when we went back to lived in San Antonio, it was a very different experience. Where I mean it wasn't with everybody, and I definitely made connections with people that I needed to, and that were fucking lovely and awesome people. But there were a lot more people there that I remember, like, because I talk about most of the time I feel like I can find the connective tissue, but over there I was really struggling to want to with some of the stuff that I would hear them say or hear them do, where I was just like, and it was another one of those instances where like sometimes certain things might be directed at me and I could take that in whatever way, but it was mostly the stuff that they would direct at other people that was like hateful and superficial. And
I made one friend like when I we moved to San Antonio when I was a senior in high school, and I just made one friend, and she was also someone who had just moved
exactly my sophomore year after you weren't there anymore. All the majority of the friends that I made had also all just moved there, and so we were all like, oh, so you're cool.
This culture's kind of crazy, huh?
Yeah, exactly. This
the
culture
Ronald
is
Reagan
different.
High School is.
Yeah.
You said Ronald Reagan High School.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the kids that went to school there were pretty well off and stuff. It was in like a really nice, it was a really beautiful school.
That's what I remember you saying, is that there were a lot of very like preppy, richer kids that went there. Like whenever you would come visit and we would talk about it, and then you'd have to go away, and then my heart would break all over again.
Well, I mean, like they were like very actively looking down at the lesser as far as like whether that was like financially or whatever, just very actively like almost like truly turning their nose at like fucking poor people. And it's just like, what in the fuck, dude?
I've kind of heard that can be a pretty big thing in Texas schools specifically. I mean, don't quote me, I don't fucking know. I didn't go to school in Texas, so
and like
graduating
over there,
was so sad.
Yeah, I know, you
I
poor
had
thing,
my fucking
dude.
21-year-old boyfriend up in the stadium for me, and that was it.
That would have been so hard. I mean, we were there too, but yeah, I feel you.
No, I know. I'm saying
like
of the
outside,
school,
yeah.
It did blow.
Yeah,
it honestly blowed so
that would have been so brutal.
I could have graduated here in Union, where it was like, I
where
had
it was
friends.
like home, yeah. And we'll see. And
trauma. I'm just kidding.
Straight up, but no, and that
you went through the same time.
I mean, well, me, it
you
was
kinda made more
freshman
friends a
year.
little bit, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but then you moved back for senior years.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Did you go?
Say,
Were you at graduation, or did you skip
I
it?
didn't physically go, no, because like
I didn't think so.
I had just barely gotten this done.
Okay.
Because I had been in Columbus, Ohio, at a hospital over there, where they placed this.
Yeah.
And so, but like I missed like the last couple of months physically in school, and also graduation, and like just
Which
one
was
of
sad. That was a sad milestone.
But you want to know what all made it amazing? Is that, listen, just a little story, right? We met in second grade And it's because we had the same class and we rode the same bus because we lived in the same neighborhood. Okay. The trifecta, if you will. After second grade, we did not have another class together until she moved back from Texas, and we were seniors together. We had drama together. And I just think that's pretty crazy. Like,
It's absolutely ridiculous.
super full circle. Because I was like, what the fuck? Why do we never get any classes together?
We had third grade together too.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Third grade.
After third grade, then that was it. And it did suck. Like, I mean, at least we still had the bus and stuff too.
Yeah.
But without that would have been brutal. But yeah, well, so when I had the nasal feeding tube, it was in San Antonio, and I would not have gone back to school with that, to that school.
Really?
I would not.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I requested to be homeschooled. Like, I requested to get that figured out because
you felt like they would make fun of you and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, and over there too, the way people reacted, like over here when we came back, like most of the time when people would look at me or whatever and talk to me, it was there was like a look of concern, you know, and maybe sometimes pity, but that could be my own projections or whatever. But there was normally like a warm concern about what might have been going on for me, you know.
Yeah.
But over there, man, like it was like disdain. It was like disgust. Like it was like, what's wrong with you? Like but in a very, and that wasn't even at the school.
Make me a list.
That wasn't
Really, just in public.
Yes, like you know, like because I would go to church regularly and stuff, and most of the time at the church, it was people were sweet, but whenever we would go like somewhere else after church, like say like, you know, one of the shopping centers or whatever that has like a food court, that was always, I remember going into a Betsy Johnson over there and the girl giving me exactly that vibe. Like, and actually asked me, so like, what's wrong with you? And I was like,
Wait.
Cool.
Sorry, I was looking at Raya. What happened?
At Betsy Johnson, you know, like they have those like little outdoor strip malls or whatever. We were like walking around there and I was getting that vibe from all these different people, the way that they were looking at me that was very like nose scrunchy, you know, like just kind of fucking weird. And then, yeah, when I went into the Betsy Johnson, I was like looking at different dresses. Like I asked her about something and she was like, so like, what's wrong with you? And I was just like, you know, I've been sick a minute and whatever, you know, this helps me survive. I don't know what the fuck. And
Was this a worker?
Yes.
Betsy Johnson worker. I will you. What a stupid fucking cunt. Oh my God. Stupid bitch. Why would you ask anybody that?
Yeah.
Let alone my sweet baby angel right here. Who would literally give you the clothes off her back, you stupid. I hope you got lost in the woods somewhere and had to swim down a shitty shit creek. And I hope you survived and you got fucking humbled, bitch. Oh my God. Whew. Do you like how I zoned in when she said the what's wrong with
like,
you?
wait, what the fuck did they say?
And you know, like I said, like, you know, here, man, there was like I said, a concern to even similar questions. Like, so like, what is in your nose and like, what is happening, you know? But it wasn't like, what's fucking wrong with you?
Yeah.
You know?
Like, I
And
remember you and I would go to the mall all the time and like do like fun selfies and
Exactly,
yada yada. And like
yeah.
nobody ever did that.
Exactly. Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with people?
Yeah, I tell you, it was a different vibe.
It was culture shock for real.
Yeah,
Like,
for us it most certainly was, because
And-
we were like pretty sheltered too, up to a certain
but
extent.
you know, it was interesting. Like when I left school, I immediately started waiting tables and stuff, and I felt much better there. I mean, I found Raimi and like a couple other people. I mean, there were also bad people, you know, for stupid men. But
There's a lot of them.
so many things to say, no. but anyways, no, but that just felt better, like, you know, and I think it was
kind of
also
the same with the community at the church for me too.
Yeah.
Like having that did help me a lot. Like it
was
helped
like a little
keep
bit
my faith in
centered,
people and
yeah.
and
that is just so terrible.
and the thing is like I did come back home for my senior year at Union. I was there half the time because I was weak as fuck, you know, a lot of the time, and I'm again getting different surgeries and stuff, but there was a warmth. And all the people that I thought would have forgotten about me. Yeah, right. I mean, all the people that I would have thought forgotten about me didn't, you know. And
Well, that's just because you have a very impactful way, okay?
Yeah, and that's why that bitch didn't even know who she was talking
Exactly.
to.
I'm like, do you even know who you're dealing with?
This is the angel of God. Okay, like of the universe.
Because like even the people that I like did not get along with in high school, like Rhonda was, you know, she was friends with them, and they like you said, they were all very nice to you, and you know.
and I feel like they didn't like. I mean, I think they kind of felt for whatever was happening with me, but they didn't really treat me different.
Exactly, like they didn't like bully you for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there might have been some kids that maybe like didn't understand and maybe could have like poked fun in some ways, like unbeknownst to me. But even that, I have some grace.
Or even
for.
Maybe just unbeknownst to them. I mean, high school kids are fucking stupid.
Exactly. So. Yeah, and it's just like, you know, but it never felt like I was
hostile.
Yeah, it never felt hostile, and it never felt like I was ostracized in that way. Like they still tried to involve me.
A culture in San Antonio too of like exclusion and like
precisely
you do not belong here.
Precisely, yes.
And that is, you know, a jarring feeling, especially because we did come, like, I loved my high school experience too before we moved to San Antonio. And I mean, also, I mean, we grew up here in Tulsa since like 3rd grade for me and
kindergarten for me.
So, you know, everybody was always like, you know,
what
really
part of Texas did you guys live in before moving here?
Midland and Lubbock.
Yeah, so that was like, that was just like kind of in the middle of nowhere. Like, it wasn't, it wasn't like
it was not a bustling town, you know.
I can never remember.
Was just hanging out outside, like, really.
Yeah, yeah. We lived with my mom's probably like because we lived with my dad's dad for a little while in Texas. I'll explain why that's funny later. I won't talk about that here. But I can't remember what it was called. They're probably like screaming right now because like we all know they watch the pod. But it started with an L. I don't think it was Lubbock though. It was oh God, I can never remember.
There's so many.
But yeah, it was like that. It was very small, like one stoplight at the time. Now it's like a really it's kind of like a pretty big suburb, I think now, which is a lot.
I would imagine
that
Midland and Lubbock have probably grown a lot.
I'm sure,
too,
yeah,
sure.
a lot
Tulsa,
of those smaller
even
towns.
Tulsa, dude, in the last decade has grown substantially.
Yeah, it's
like,
definitely.
Substantially.
I find myself doing what my parents do, where they're like, "Oh my gosh, that was
back
never
then.
there," and I'm like. Shit.
Yeah, when did that crop up? Like, you know, I mean, there's so many things cropping up all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Okay,
When
like
the hell
new
did
landmarks,
that
I
get there?
guess.
And then there's that one place over by that egg roll street that keeps fucking changing every 5 minutes. Like, it was like a taco town, which I tried once and was pretty good. So then I was like real bummed when I saw it turned into a place called Swig.
What even?
And it's like
a soda place.
Yeah, it's like a soda drink place.
Oh,
my dad
really?
got my mom like this sugar-free drink, and I think it would have been good one if there was sugar in it because it was like a coconut milk type of drink. And I'm like, you gotta have sugar with coconut milk. I feel like unless you're like a person that really likes coconut milk, then it probably would have been bomb to you. Because I mean, it wasn't gross. It just needed something else, you know.
Yeah, a little more flavor.
Because I get coconut type coconut milk drinks all the time.
Yeah, I
from like
love
Starbucks
coconut
and
milk.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
she's
well,
jumping.
All right, Ryan is
This-
calling us. So we will talk to you next week. I'm so grateful to any of you that stick it out with us.
Yes, seriously.
yeah.
we
for
appreciate
the whole
you.
app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
No, for any amount of time.
This
Thank
is
you.
true. Yeah, any
Yeah.
amount of time, any
Even
comments.
if it's just the shorts.
Yeah, and like, you know, we get people are busy and have lives and stuff, so you taking the time to throw us on and listen to our ridiculousness is just fucking awesome.
It really it just fulfills so much. It makes such a difference. You know, when someone comes up to us and lets us know that they've watched, like,
yeah, like it
means
really
the
did
world.
floor me when Yari
Yeah.
was talking to me about it, because it's like, you know, man, I don't know, the joy that she had as she was talking about it made me feel like the joy and the love truly is felt, even
And that's
through this weird
awesome.
medium,
Yeah.
you know. And so
like that's one of my goals in life.
exactly.
So it's
yeah,
like,
that's
dude,
all I want.
hell yeah.
That's all I want.
Yeah, like one of my coworkers, she said that she's watched a couple episodes and she was like, "Y'all crack me up." Shout out Audrey.
Yeah, brother.
What up,
So
Audrey?
it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, join the fam, man. And
Yeah.
I hope you guys have a wonderful existence.
Freaking
We'll
love you
see
guys.
later.
See you next
See
time.
you on the next.
Bye.